Hello everyone. Till now we were seeing everything in our local, or we had created a Docker instance, but today we will see the other ways we can do Spark. So one of the main way is DataBricks. So for DataBricks you need a DataBricks online account. Like you have a Gmail account, you need a DataBricks account. For that you need the Gmail email ID only. Nothing else is required except for that. And there is another way also you can do Spark, which is Google Colab you can do. But today we will see the DataBricks part, and we will see how DataBricks how we can set it up and all. So initially for the setup, what is required is we need to create first. Once you log in, right? I have logged in, I have created an account and logged in. Then you have to go to the cluster, you have to create the cluster, and it will create always a one node because it's a community version. Always remember you have to create a community version in the DataBricks, because the normal version which is there, that again is a paid version, and that has got lots of features extra, but that's the paid version. So unless and until you want some features like koala and ml some features, then you will be doing this community version only. And community version, first this node sets up. Node is a one node, as I told you. Then once the node has been set up, right, the next thing that you have to do is you have to go and upload the data. So you have to go to the data part, and then you have to click on the add. Just a second. I think you have to click here, and then you have to go to the data, and then here there are databases, but it's not here. It was in the home only. Yeah, home only. You have to come here, and then here, see, here you can see you can come here and create the notebook. That is the way we create a Jupyter notebook, right? Here also you can create a notebook. Other than that, you can also export it in HTML format and all, which is also there. And apart from this, you have to first upload. Once you created that details, right, the cluster, then you have to upload the data. Now for uploading the data, I will just show you where you can do it. I think here only it will be there somewhere, the details, and once you click that, then the details opens up. Just a second, I will just check that. So next to that, what I was telling, that you have to upload the files, right? So how you can upload it, you can click here, and what I have done is, like, I have selected all this and I have already uploaded. Okay, so once you have uploaded the files, right, the next activity to that is, again you have to go and you have to create a notebook, right? We will create the notebook first. Now for notebook creation, what we will do is, we will go and we will click on the notebook, and I will just name it as my learning notebook, and I have to link to the cluster. It is already linked. These details are there. Okay, version of Spark, Scala and all that. So I create it, and a blank one will be created. So once I create, right, the first thing is that whether it will run a Scala or it will run a Python, right? Both the programming languages are there, so which one it will run? So for that I have to put a percentage in this thing, and then I have to come here and execute it. Okay, so this is I am showing, like, once you upload, right, it will be uploaded like this, and I'm just showing the data. But one thing is, apart from this, there is another function, I would say, which is display. Display is something which actually functionality is being given by DataBricks. DataBricks, well, it runs, right? DataBricks is nothing but another version. So Spark they have taken, and DataBricks is one of the company who have done implementation of the Spark, right? And they have put their own details. Like Cloudera is one. Likewise, there is DataBricks, right? So just to make it clear, so if you want to add a new cell, you have to just do add cell below. So it looks more or less like our notebook, right? The Python Jupyter notebook which comes. Even once you run all this, right, you can see all the details also. I'll just show you how you can see the details. And see here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the file and to convert into a Parquet. Parquet, if you remember, was one of the formats which we were creating the file. So Parquet is one which is used in Spark much. We'll see into detail. See here, you can go and you can see how many jobs ran for this one, and what were the stages, and you can go and you can see full detail, what was the stage, how many stages were there. Even you can see the diagram which we were showing there. So rather than running your own local, unless and until you have a requirement where you have to run multiple clusters, then you can come here and you can do it. You can see the DAG and all that stuff. Okay. See, notice this thing, whole state code generator, right? This we'll discuss sometime later, what is this whole code, but for the time being you just see that this is also there. This, when you are reading this file, right, this thing comes into picture. This thing, I think clicking it will not open, but just for your reference, you note it. We'll discuss later what is that, and what actually, just I will tell a little brief. Later on we will discuss in detail that whole gen, right, that has come, that is a feature that has come after Spark 2.0. that is the Tungsten version. Tungsten, I wouldn't say Tungsten version, but the Tungsten project which they tell for Spark. Suppose that, right, they have done some performance fixing and they've put all the code stuff in one place. Like for performance thing, they've put things together for that only. That has come. For now we are telling that once we go much deeper, right, we will get to know what it is, but for now you just know this thing only. Okay, add cell below. I have already created this, so it is Parquet. Like that, there is a B.AVRO and all that format. Okay, so these are different formats. What is the difference? We'll see a little today and we'll dig deeper. So here what I am trying to do is that file which I created, right, Parquet, in the previous upper one, here Parquet, I am trying to read that file only. So I created from CSV to Parquet. I had already uploaded this air quality in that window. After going to here, and here only I am doing is I am just reading the file here. See, okay. So likewise I can do for the other things, like I'll just share these details. Okay, there are a few details, like you can go and for the Parquet, right, you can even directly go and you can select from, like you can create a table and run a query and all, and also directly from the file, right, like from this one you can directly create a temporary table, temporary view, not a table, and then from that directly you can create a show and all that stuff. Likewise you can do a partition as well, and here we are doing a little partition. You can run all of these details, right, in the DataBricks. You create a free DataBricks community edition, community version, and then try all this code one by one. You run it and you check it out. Okay, so why today I am doing a little hurried, because I want to cover more things, because slowly we are going into depth, right? So there are many things to cover actually. So I am starting from very slow and very smaller things, so that everybody is in sync, because many people, it might be very monotonous for them because they already know all this. But the thing is that, see, people who are starting from scratch, or who are freshers, or who are 1 or 2 years experienced, right, they will not know these details. So that is why I am covering this. So next to that is, today we will know a little bit of Parquet. Now the question comes that what are the types and what is so special about Parquet. Today we are talking about Parquet. Other days we will talk about others. So before that I will say all these details, right, which I have written here, I've gathered from the websites. I will mention those and I will provide you those so that you can go and you can read the details. It is very detail wise, it is there, that why, what happens, and why this Parquet is helpful. Likewise we will do another for A.VRO and all that, so that things are clear first, that what is what and when to use what, or rather I wouldn't say, see, I could have told that okay, you can use this in this situation, but there can be a million situations, right? So if you know the basics, if your basics are clear, then you can go ahead and you can decide on your own that okay, this is my situation, I should use this. That is why I don't want to go into okay, this is when your file is like this you should use this, when your situation is like, because there can be n number of situations and at that point of time you will be stuck. So now before coming to Parquet, right, we should know what is a CSV. We all know a CSV, right? .csv, that is a text file, the notepad. When you open a notepad, whatever you open and you type, that is a CSV. So CSV is like this, right? Values are stored like this, 1 2 3 something like this, and second row comes like this. So this is what you are going row wise like this. Okay, you are coming down, again you are storing, again you are going. So this is how most of we are familiarized seeing this, right? So and also JSON and all that stuff is also like that. We write like this and we come to the next, and again we do next line and we read. So these are called row based because they are going in a row. Now then what is the other way around? So other way around is columnar file. Now before knowing, we should know that what are the types. Generally we have files which comes here, that is CSV and A.VRO. These are row type. CSV, A.VRO, JSON, all these are generally all are row wise only, right, when we store a data. Now what is a columnar? To know columnar, right, we have to see an example. See, the same thing when we store in a columnar, it will be stored in this way. First the column name, then the variable type, then the value. Okay, so the thing is that like this it will be stored. Now a question might come to your mind that why we want to store in this. This is reading wise very tough, right, that this comes here, again it will be repeated, ID and all. But the thing is that this Parquet and all is very helpful when you are doing a aggregate. Why so? Because suppose you are doing a query where you are putting the first name is equal to Joe Matthew. Okay, by the way, this guy, right, Joe Matthew Rathbone, this guy's blocks are really nice. You can go and you can check that. So when he is there, Matthew, suppose this I want to know count of how many guys name starts with a Matthew. So what I do a select count of count from table where first name is equal to Matthew. Okay, first name is equal to Matthew Joe or whatever. So then that point of time what will happen is it will try to retrieve this one, right? In our case what will happen, it will not have this row based. So here it is easier to aggregate because suppose you want to find the count, right, it will just go and count how many like this are there, how many rows are there, and it will find out. So it is very good in aggregation, but it is not good while you are doing row by row, because then it becomes very complex, and reading wise also it is very complex. Now post that, right, we have something called this thing Parquet and A.VRO, right, which we have seen previously above. We have just tried to put what are the differences, because see, columnar family comes in Parquet, ORC and RC file, but what is the difference between A.VRO and this one? So as I told, right, this reduces the cost versus A.VRO and all, but A.VRO also has its own advantage. We will see that once we go and read the A.VRO part of it. Okay, but for now we are telling the Parquet in details. So Parquet is much faster when you are doing for a few columns and for when you are doing aggregation especially. Okay, now next, now if you are interested to know more about Parquet, right, then you can go to the site Elysium, and there is a full detail of how the Parquet header and Parquet details are, and how the footer and header is, and this is also really nice, and you can go and you can read other things from this site. So another thing we just wanted to share with you. So Parquet is one of the main features which is very helpful is vectorization. Now many questions, many times they ask that what is vectorization. Vectorization is very well described in one second in here. Okay, so this also I will, or rather it is not here, one second, it's not in just X but in I think it is here, correct, yes. So here in this blog, right, of the Cloudera, they have actually, this is 2018's blog, this is a little older blog, but they have tried to tell that how they are actually, they have put the vectorization in the Hive level. So what is vectorization? Vectorization is nothing but when data is being processed, right, it does not do a row based process, it does a process by pulling the full data, all the data together, like say in a bunch data it will take and it will process. I found yeah, I think this one only, yeah. So this is very good read, I will just post this also in that comment section, that this is people who have been working in the Spark, they will know that there was a project called Tungsten. That project actually gave rise to this one, this columnar layout of the memory thing, vectorization. What it does is, when the CPU, right, nowadays when it comes, it actually helps in processing multiple rows together in batches. So that is why things are like that, and so modern CPUs are designed in that way, and that's why we take the advantage of that and we process it with using the help of that, right. And I think here where they have mentioned, no, they have Cloudera mentions generally the Parquet reader, but they also got some details. I believe somewhere it was there, here only. There is a DataBricks also nowadays supports, not nowadays, it's from long it supports, because Spark 2.0 you can understand, right, it was very long, but the blog which I was seeing is not that one. I think this one only, correct, Cloudera one. So Cloudera one very specifically says that what is the difference, because nowadays it is a SIMB, right. So SIMB processors, CPUs are easier to load. So people who are like a little experienced and all, for them they generally ask that how and all, they can ask. So if you want to make your fundamentals very strong, then we can just go and read this detail. This is about vectorization, but for people who are freshers or who are very less experienced, for them I would say that vectorization is nothing but in a bunch they are processing together rows, so it is faster. And this is one of the main features or one of the full features of Parquet, I would say, which helps processing the data in a faster manner. So you have to, but the thing is that before you do this, you have to set this on, like vectorization on. I think in these blogs only it will be there in 2-3 blogs somewhere, like you have to set the vectorize as on, and then only you can run that. I am not doing that as of now, because I'm planning to do it in the future sections. For now you just know that what is Parquet, what is columnar, and what is the difference between row based and column based, and then in the future we will see into when we see into more details, right, that what it does and how it works, then we'll get to know of Parquet a little more. Okay, so in this video I just wanted to go through two things. One is this DataBricks thing, which you are now familiarized how to run it, and other thing which I wanted to show, I wanted to start with the Parquet. Parquet, by the way, the spelling is wrong. There is only one R in the Parquet. So this is how the details are. I will try to go to other details and try to show you other formats and when to, not when to use, but what are those, and when probably when to use. Probably you can just understand from your like after knowing the features of them. So this is the detail. And another thing, this columnar, right, columnar storage, this is a new thing which has started a few years back. Of course, columnar was not there even in the database section, right? If you see, many databases are nowadays columnar. So whenever somebody says to you columnar, you should understand this. So the another thing is that in the columnar, then you can see, right, that this data type is there along with the data itself. It is not different, whereas here it is only the data type is implied in the CSV, and in the JSON also it is like you can mention the schema, of course, but generally data types are not there in a row wise everywhere. But columnar, of course, it has to be there, because otherwise how it will find out and it will work, because that is the feature of the columnar. So columnar is also based on some white paper which was written. I'll just show you the white paper which was written. So today we'll stop here. I will just search that paper out, because I was not finding that. That is a very old paper, that is like a 20-year-old white paper which was written for the columnar, based on which all these columnar details have been found, because previous to that everything was row based. But then the columnar started, because columnar they showed that it actually much of the space and all gets saved because of some compression also, which is like snappy and all, which helps in compressing the data to much extent. So that is why that the columnar came into picture, and that is very much in market nowadays with many Amazon details also. Amazon also, many of them are using columnar way of storing the data, like Redshift and all. Those also stored that way. So those are the details for now. When we meet next time, we will see other details apart from the Parquet. What are the other formats? Because if you go deeper, right, you can go much deeper into it. So for today, we will leave you here. Kindly go and create a DataBricks account and put this code there and try it, and let me know in case of any issues. Thank you.